In the 21st century, a new resource has emerged as the most valuable commodity on the planet. It isn't oil, it isn't gold, it isn't even data. It's something far more technical, far more concentrated, and far more geopolitically explosive. It's the GPU, the graphics processing unit, the engine that powers artificial intelligence, the critical component behind the most valuable companies, the most advanced militaries, and the most powerful algorithms in existence. This is the story of how GPUs became the new oil, how Nvidia rose to near total dominance, and how the global semiconductor supply chain has become the most strategically important system on Earth. For decades, GPUs were niche. Their purpose was simple: render graphics for games and visual applications. But the architecture designed for high throughput graphics turned out to be perfect for something else: deep learning. As AI models grew larger and more complex, CPUs couldn't handle the parallel workloads needed to train neural networks. GPUs could. Suddenly, a chip built for video games became the foundation of modern artificial intelligence. Today, AI training, AI inference, supercomputing, autonomous vehicles, robotics, biotech, and advanced simulation all run on GPUs. Cloud providers build entire data centers around them. Tech giants battle for procurement contracts. Startups cannot scale without them. Governments fight to control them. And nations now classify advanced GPUs as strategic assets, on par with weapons-grade technologies. GPU access determines who can build the most powerful AI models, who can deploy them at scale, and who falls behind. That is why the world is entering a GPU arms race. To understand this arms race, we must start with Nvidia, the undisputed king of AI compute. Nvidia did not just design fast chips, it built a complete technological ecosystem that other chip designers cannot easily replicate. The heart of that ecosystem is CUDA, Nvidia's proprietary programming platform. CUDA allows developers to write software that fully taps into the power of Nvidia GPUs. Over 15 years, CUDA has grown into the standard for AI and parallel computing. Tens of thousands of developers, researchers, and companies rely on it. Once you build your system, your tools, and your workflows around CUDA, switching to another platform becomes extremely difficult. This has created a lock-in effect with enormous economic consequences. Nvidia doesn't just sell GPUs, it sells access to an ecosystem that everyone else is forced to adapt to. That is why Nvidia controls the overwhelming majority of the AI accelerator market. Why almost every major AI model, from startup experiments to trillion parameter giants, runs on Nvidia hardware. Why cloud providers prioritize Nvidia capacity. And why, throughout the world, the most advanced research labs depend on the company's roadmap. Nvidia's GPUs are not mass-produced commodities. They are scarce, expensive, and extremely difficult to manufacture. The most advanced chips, such as Nvidia's H100, H200, and the upcoming B series, require extreme ultraviolet lithography, advanced chip packaging, and high bandwidth memory. Only a handful of companies in the world can produce the technology needed to make these chips. This is what makes the GPU supply chain so fragile, so concentrated, and so geopolitically explosive. At the center of the supply chain is TSMC, the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. TSMC manufactures the vast majority of the world's most advanced chips, including nearly all high-end Nvidia GPUs. Without TSMC, Nvidia's entire AI business collapses. Without TSMC, the world's leading AI companies cannot train the next generation of models. And without TSMC, the technological progress of the last decade slows dramatically. This is the single largest point of concentration in the global economy. TSMC depends on another monopoly, ASML, the Dutch company that builds the lithography machines used to etch transistor patterns onto silicon. ASML is the only company on the planet capable of producing EUV machines. Each machine costs hundreds of millions of dollars, takes months to assemble, and requires an ecosystem of suppliers from multiple continents. Without ASML, TSMC cannot produce advanced chips, and without TSMC, Nvidia cannot ship AI GPUs. The entire AI revolution bottlenecks through a two-company chain linking the Netherlands and Taiwan. Even once a chip is manufactured, it must undergo high-end packaging and integration. That requires advanced packaging technologies like CoWoS, a process that stacks multiple chip components together in three-dimensional form. Only a small number of facilities in the world have enough capacity to handle NVIDIA's packaging requirements. For years, this created one of the biggest bottlenecks in the AI supply chain. Companies with GPU contracts waited months, even years, to receive units. Pricing rose as scarcity intensified, and the companies that controlled these bottlenecks gained immense bargaining power. This supply scarcity came at the same time the world was emerging from the massive global chip shortage triggered by the pandemic. That shortage revealed how vulnerable the semiconductor economy was. When supply tightened, automotive production slowed, consumer electronics became scarce, and prices rose. That was just a preview. The AI era has created demand levels far beyond what the old economy ever required. AI models today require tens of thousands of GPUs to train. Future models may require hundreds of thousands. And demand is accelerating faster than supply can scale. This is what economists call a supercycle, a long sustained period of elevated demand, constrained supply, and large investment flows. For semiconductors, this supercycle is being driven by artificial intelligence. Cloud providers are ordering GPUs in multi-billion-dollar quantities. AI startups fundraise not for employees or marketing, but to purchase compute. Governments are subsidizing chip manufacturing as part of national security strategy. And companies across healthcare, finance, energy, manufacturing, and defense are scrambling to prepare for a world in which AI is a basic competitive requirement. As the world races to build more AI infrastructure, Nvidia is transforming from a chip designer into a global compute provider. The company is building entire systems, not just GPUs, but full AI supercomputers, networking platforms, and integrated hardware-software stacks. Customers no longer buy chips. They buy turnkey AI infrastructure, pre-configured and optimized from the ground up. This increases dependence on Nvidia and reduces opportunities for competitors to gain traction. Meanwhile, Nvidia's pricing power has become extraordinary. Advanced GPUs sometimes sell for tens of thousands of dollars per unit. Secondary markets push prices even higher when supply is constrained. Institutions with deep pockets receive priority. Others wait. The result is a hierarchy of access in the AI economy. Those who can afford GPUs advance quickly, while those who cannot fall behind. This has implications not just for companies, but for entire countries. The United States has imposed export controls on advanced GPUs, limiting China's access to high-end chips. These controls are designed to maintain a technological lead by restricting adversaries' ability to train frontier AI models. In response, China has launched antitrust investigations into Nvidia and accelerated domestic chip development programs. At the same time, illicit flows have emerged, with reports of high-end GPUs being smuggled into restricted markets through intermediaries. This is the geopolitical dimension of the GPU arms race. Nations are not only competing in AI research, they are competing for control over the hardware that makes AI possible. Chip sovereignty has become national security. Manufacturing capacity has become a strategic asset, and export controls have become a tool of foreign policy. The concentration of GPU power in a single company and a single geographic manufacturing hub creates systemic risk. A geopolitical event, natural disaster, or supply chain disruption involving Taiwan could halt global AI development. A blockage in advanced packaging capacity could stall GPU shipments worldwide. A shortage of high bandwidth memory could cripple entire product lines. A shortage of lithography machines from ASML could delay semiconductor manufacturing for years. These risks have pushed companies and governments to invest heavily in supply chain diversification. TSMC is building new fabs in the United States and Japan. Intel is attempting to revive its foundry business to compete for advanced nodes. Memory suppliers are rapidly scaling high bandwidth memory production. Packaging facilities are expanding capacity to handle future GPU volumes. But these efforts take time. They require billions of dollars in capital expenditure, thousands of skilled engineers, and supply chains that reach across dozens of countries. Even under optimal conditions, it will take years to meaningfully reduce dependence on Taiwan and the existing bottlenecks. Meanwhile, competition in the GPU market is finally rising. AMD has become the most credible challenger, with its MI series accelerators gaining traction among major AI developers. AMD's chiplet-based architecture allows for flexible design and cost advantages. Cloud providers are also exploring custom AI accelerators, reducing their reliance on Nvidia over time. Companies like Broadcom, Google, Amazon, and others are building internal ASICs designed for specific AI workloads. These alternative architectures will not replace GPUs entirely, but they will diversify the compute landscape. Still, Nvidia retains a decisive advantage because of its software ecosystem. Hardware can be copied. Software ecosystems cannot be easily replicated. CUDA, CUDNN, and Nvidia's full developer stack create a moat far deeper than the chips themselves. It is similar to how oil companies built not just drilling capabilities, but entire logistical and distribution networks. Whoever controls the ecosystem controls the industry. This brings us back to the economic analogy. GPUs are the new oil. They power the engines of AI. They determine the speed of innovation. They shape competitive advantage. They enable new industries. They require complex global supply chains with choke points and geopolitical risk. Nations fight over access to them. Companies stockpile them. Black markets emerge when they become scarce. Pricing is volatile. Supply cycles are unpredictable. And whoever controls the supply wields enormous influence over the global economy. GPUs are also energy hungry. The data centers that house them require massive power consumption, advanced cooling systems, and specialized infrastructure. As thousands of GPUs run parallel workloads, energy demand rises. This intertwines the GPU arms race with the traditional energy economy. AI compute relies on enormous electricity and water resources, further reinforcing the analogy between chips and oil. Both require significant environmental, resource, and infrastructure considerations. The future of the GPU arms race depends on several scenarios. In one scenario, the AI supercycle continues, supply catches up, and Nvidia maintains dominance while competitors grow steadily. In another scenario, geopolitical tensions disrupt supply chains, forcing countries to build redundant manufacturing capacity and accelerating the fragmentation of the semiconductor ecosystem. A third scenario involves a technological shift, where new architectures begin to outperform GPUs in key workloads, challenging Nvidia's lead. Whichever path unfolds, one thing is clear. Compute has become the foundational resource of the modern world. Access to GPUs determines who can compete in artificial intelligence. Nations will continue to treat semiconductors as national security assets. Companies will continue to invest heavily in securing long-term supply. And the global economy will increasingly revolve around the availability, pricing, and distribution of advanced AI chips. The GPU arms race has only just begun. In the coming years, as AI models grow more powerful and compute demands continue to rise, the value of GPUs will increase even further. Companies will battle for access. Countries will negotiate, invest, and regulate. Supply chains will shift. Technologies will evolve. But one truth will remain. In the digital age, the most valuable resource is not oil buried underground. It is compute etched into silicon. And whoever controls it, controls the future.